So we are in the middle of two series. The first one, we were talking about how black women were violated during slavery. And the second one, we were discussing the black laws or black codes of the Midwest, the West Coast, as well as the northern states, right? Right? Now, before we jump back into those series, I thought we might have lighter discussions for a minute, just for a minute, yeah. And I wanted to share a few things that I came across on my research of random things, because I like random things. And I wanted to share with you things like the 6,888th Central Postal Directory Battalion. Yeah, I know you have no idea what that is. Neither did I. Yeah. But I found out that the 6,888th Central Postal Directory Battalion, nicknamed the 6888, was an all-black battalion of the Women's Army Corps. I'm going to give it a minute. Did you get there? Yeah. It was a battalion of all black women. Yes. This battalion of all black women served during World War II. And have you ever heard of them before? I know I haven't. And if I sound bitter, it's because I am. Now, during World War II, there was a significant shortage of soldiers who were able to manage the postal service for the United States Army overseas, okay? And this is because since D-Day, warehouses in Birmingham, England were filled with millions of pieces of mail intended for members of the U.S. military, the U.S. government personnel, and Red Cross workers across Europe, okay? And so we have the Women's Army Corps, right? They were created by a law signed by President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He signed the law 1943, and his wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, along with civil rights leader Mary Bethune, they successfully advocated for the admittance of black women into the Women's Army Corps, because before then, black women were not serving in WAC, just white women. We have these lovely black women who enlist. 855 black women were recruited into WAC, the Army Services, and the Army Air Force. What is it? The Army Air Forces. And eventually, they would become the 6888. So 855 black women went through basic training. And on February 3rd, 1945, they left the United States, headed for Birmingham, England, where they were met with warehouses stacked to the ceiling with letters and packages, buildings with no heat and that were dimly lit, windows blacked out to prevent light from showing during nighttime air raids. There were letters that had been in makeshift offices for as long as 2 years. And many of the letters and packages only had first names or nicknames to identify the military person. There was an estimated backlog of 17 million items. So, the black women, they got to work doing what others could not or would not do. They broke off into 3 different shifts, working around the clock, 7 days a week, processing and delivering mail, each shift handling an estimated 65,000 pieces of mail. Their motto: no mail equals low morale, providing essential support for the U.S. military in the European theater by linking servicemen to their loved ones back home. And they devised their own system to handle the backlog of the mail. And this would include creating and maintaining a card index of names of those with the same or similar name, using serial numbers to identify one from the other. They would eventually have 7 million cards. They would even investigate insufficiently addressed mail for clues to determine the intended recipient. And they would even handle the very sad duty of returning mail for those addressed to service members who had passed away. In total, the unit handled mail for over 4 million, both military and civilian, as well as clearing backlogs in the United Kingdom and France. They cleared a 6-month backlog of mail in 3 months. They achieved unprecedented success and efficiency in solving the military's postal problems. Now, with the exception of smaller units of black nurses who served in Africa, Australia, and England, the 6888 Central Postal Directory Battalion, they were the only black women's unit to serve overseas during World War II. And I learned about them 2 days ago by accident when I was researching something else. Tomorrow, we will talk about the racism and the sexism they faced.